I request Harsha to kindly initiate the workshop, which is on Kaliyug and possible solutions.
We discussed in the morning about volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity, and that was something mentioned by Professor Sharda Nandram. So this small session of about 30-35 minutes that we have, we would try to do it in a workshop form, and I would request Professor Sharda ji to initiate the discussion, and thereby I would put up my views, and we would in between like the views of everyone, the audience also in this, because Kaliyug is something that is known by all of us. So I think we can all say something or the other relevant to the theme. So first of all, I request Professor Sharda Nandram.
Yes, Kaliyug, the way we have talked about is VUCA. Volatility has to do with changes in high speed. You can think of technology. Uncertainty is about, I'm talking about the organizational perspective. Uncertainty is about the fact that often deterministic models that worked in the past do not work anymore. Complexity is due to the access to the global world. We are connected. There is a whole web of connection, but at the same time, it has become a very complex thing. And ambiguity is because we are connected, we are able to share different views, different worldviews, and that confuses people because what is right, what is wrong, each one has his own perspective. So actually, because it's after lunch and I want to avoid that you fall asleep, I would like each of you to think of a VUCA experience in the past week and contemplate upon it and think how did you solve it? Was it something done externally, or was it something that you did internally yourself in your mindset? Think about it and discuss it with your neighbor. And you get, let's say, 5 minutes, each 2.5 minutes. Would that work? One example could be, for example, Jos and Dinya, the VUCA context yesterday, when your plane was cancelled and what to do, how to cope with it. Were you too anxious and frustrated, or did you say, oh, let it go, this is India, we have to go with the flow, this is indigo, you said. So what did you finally do? Isn't it something in your mindset, or did you start to shout to people, or what was it? You know, so this is the kind of VUCA context in daily life. And of course, if those who are working in the corporate sector, they can think of something else in your own corporate sector. What is the VUCA context or the VUCA situation that really keeps me busy? Okay? Thank you.
So, if anyone would like to share anything related to this, where you feel even somebody in the area of finance would like to talk about the volatility that you don't like, or some phenomenon being affected by multiple factors, so complexity.
So coping with Kaliyug is understanding VUCA, and what we propose in this book is several views to handle VUCA, and we end with a chapter written by Puniji, Ankuji, and myself, where we say VUCA, how to handle that has to do with your own perception, your own worldview. How do you look at others? How do you look at yourself? And we ended up saying it is, given all kinds of problems that we have seen in society in different countries, maybe a cyclic worldview would be more beneficial. And that cyclic worldview I have put in a few slides, so maybe if the slides are... Can I get it? Yes. Yes. Because the cyclic worldview requires this attitude of harmony, the attitude towards a coherent view. We were talking about social entrepreneurship and ended up also saying that there is no competition. So you can work towards co-creation, towards collaboration. But it requires a certain mindset. If we say, VUCA, and use the metaphor of a tree, then, for example, this integrating simplification example of Buurtzorg is one of the leaves. So that was a manifestation of a deeper worldview through integrating simplification. So there are different leaves in the world. There are different examples. Some may call it a mindful organization, or they will call it a self-managed organization. There are several examples. I've also asked the students to think about own case in the Indian context, which is very much revolutionary, Patanjali, Ayurveda, which they will share tomorrow. But instead of only sharing all those examples, we may need to think deeply about the worldview behind. So I came up with this idea of we need to think deeper and deeper, and I talked about cultures, and together the three of us came up with this idea of there is, what we require is an integrative paradigm, a cyclic worldview. And what is that cyclic worldview? In a base, it is about this idea that if we say there is a consciousness, everything is consciousness, this table is consciousness, I'm consciousness, and everything is connected, then only also in a VUCA context, how can you be anxious if something happens and rely too much upon the external factors? Isn't it so that you go inwards and try to solve that? Because if everything is connected, there is this yatapinde tat brahmande. If you say what is in the universe is also inside us, then isn't that a much better way of solving a problem? So the cyclic worldview, I believe, will help us in a way to avoid too many disintegration in societies, in whatever society, especially when there are several kinds of cultures together, in organizations where people are working from different disciplines, people bring different kinds of worldviews together. So I thought this cyclic worldview will be very much helpful. And we have built this integrative paradigm, and that has become actually the roots for our thinking of integrative intelligence. So I will share these 5 principles, and would like to just let you take some time to reflect upon. If we say the first one is this integral unity, what is it about? In practice, it is about respecting that there are several ways of expressing things. There are several manifestations. We are working at Buurtzorg to, spread the word to other partners or other countries. Each country may have their own cultural context, so each country may have to bring their own intelligence to make this model work. So, what is the implication of this principle is that there is respect for several manifestations of the same basic worldview. Okay? The next is that holistic attainment with detachment. Basically, it has to do with striving to find a balance between worldly and spiritual goals. And there is a lot of interest in spirituality in organizations, but it is either or. It is not together. So an integrative paradigm asks for finding a balance between these two. So we are talking about embodied knowing, especially in the Western world. We look at objective information, or we tend to value those more and more. And I believe in the Eastern context, especially in India, there is much more room for different ways of knowing. People appreciate it if you say you rely upon your intuition. And actually in natural life we do it. All the main decisions that we take are mainly based on our intuition. So the third principle is to build this integrative intelligence, integrative worldview is about embracing different ways of knowing and let them be there together, not as, the rational thinking is more dominant than the more intuitive thinking. Of course, I don't say that it's only based on the intuitive thinking. All these are, in a way, the information that you need to make your decision, to understand a problem. And the fourth one is doing without doership, which is maybe the hardest. And this requires a certain belief that finally you are not the doer. There are forces that help the universe. Okay? So doing without doership is a very tough one. It requires a lot of an attitude of letting go if things doesn't work. At the same time, it gives a lot of relief if you feel you have tried a lot, put a lot of effort, and things doesn't work. Then don't think you have done it all. You have learned from it, and you can move on. And next time maybe we'll get some more insights to prevent some things that you have regretted. And I think this is the main principle in this integrative paradigm. We are all connected. So if in a cyclic worldview we say all is consciousness, this is consciousness, I'm consciousness, you are consciousness, and we say we are all connected, because I think that is the cyclic worldview about, then we would definitely organize our venture in a different way. Then this whole thinking about self-interest at the side of the employees, and the employees having their own interests, a divide between employees and the organizational goals. We don't need that necessarily. It is maybe at certain stage in your life, those self-interests are important. But at the same time, if we say we are all connected, actually in your consciousness you will always try to give that a place, that it is finally one part of me connected to a higher, bigger thing. So whatever benefit I'm striving for should have implications for that higher thing. So I would like to say that what is then that approach to cope with Kaliyug? I mentioned it. It's the ability to It's the ability to work on realizing this journey from this unconsciousness to consciousness. So you can say many times during the day maybe we are unconscious. So if we see yourself as an unconscious skeleton, and that is what life is about, that is what organizations are about. So coping with VUCA, coping with Kaliyug has to do with following this path. And during that path you may be inspired by people, you may be inspired by reading books or having best practices around, but it is a journey itself. And after saying that, it reminded me what Mahatma Gandhi ji has said, that if you want to change things, try to be the change you want to see. So all these years I thought it was very interesting what he's saying, but what is it about? Unless I myself talked about this integrative intelligence, I said, okay, indeed, it is je tapinde tat brahmande. So try to be the change you want to see outside. So for me, coping with Kaliyug would be this approach, which is a lifelong approach. And but why don't we start it? If we say this is a separate thing for our private life, and in business we act differently, I think it's wasting our time. So this is the way I would like to propose a solution towards Kaliyug.
Sharda ji mentioned about all are connected. So there are two lines, Doha, also associated. Tatvam padme asi jo chetan dono ka sandeh, trigunaatmak mithya maya, guptatam satchit anande. So the real happiness is inside. So the moment we take it up, then I think world is a different place. Our perspective is different. People talk about something 7, 8, 9. So, the 7 wonders, 7 chakras, 8 chakras, 9th cloud. So sometimes we are in a state that we call 7, 8, 9 state, where we feel, things are a little different than what, there are many times we feel that kind of effect and all. And at that time our thinking changes. Something we felt, God saved us. At that point of time, see your thinking, how you are viewing the world at that time. Or let us say somebody is no more and you are at the funeral. At that point of time, some moments, what way you see the world. So, different perspective, isn't it? Anyway, so regarding the Kaliyug, first of all, in India, we believe about the Yug, the era, the ages. Shardaji was mentioning about the cyclical view that we have. Instead of the linear view which the Western world has, in India, we have a cyclical view. So there are Yug, Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, and then the Kaliyug. I was discussing with Ankurji yesterday, what is the number of years each Yug has? So he told me that approximately 4,30,000 years. So then I asked him that how many years in Kaliyug we have passed? So he said approximately 5,000. So you can imagine the kind of things that would come up. Shardaji was mentioning about the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. So imagine the way in which the things are going to get worse in the time to come. So one can refer to the things which are mentioned in Ramayana, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and you can find thereby through them what kind of things. There is one more book, Bhavishya Puran, if you see. So you will find that what kind of things have been predicted by saints and the sages, the Rishi, Maharishi, many years back. Now, towards the end of Mahabharata, there is another story that Bhagwan Krishna shot arrows in different directions and asked the Pandavas, that is the people who won the war, to go to the place and see what is happening. So the first arrow went to a place where a bird, a cuckoo, was singing very well. And on the feathers, some Ved mantra were also written. And the bird was singing very well. So the Pandavas, they felt that, oh, such a great thing. But then they looked that the bird has a rabbit in the claw, and in between is eating the rabbit. They were amazed why this is happening. What's the implication? So Bhagwan Krishna said that in the Kaliyug there will be people who would pretend like, we know all, and they would say something and you will believe that, oh, what a great way they are saying. They may be priests, they may be somebody who propagates some maybe religion or whatever. They will call themselves an institution. They would not believe in any other's view. They will say, my way is right. And everyone will feel that, yes, that is so good. But in fact, they will be harming you. That is, the bird was also eating the rabbit. So, That was the first arrow. Second arrow went to a place where there was a well, a very big well, and water was oozing out. So it was overflowing. Surrounded very nearby by some 4 or 5 very small wells. There was not even a drop of water in those wells. It's amazing. Because if there is some water in a well, other wells should also have the water. So Bhagavan Krishna explained this, that in the Kaliyug, there will be people who will have a lot of money, but they will not give to anyone who is in need, the real need. So that is the second thing that will happen in Kaliyug. Third arrow fell to a place where a cow had just given birth to a calf, and out of affection and love, the mother was licking the cow was licking the calf. And it continued licking. The skin of the calf came out. Still it was licking. They were amazed. What kind of mother? So Bhagavan Krishna mentioned that in Kaliyug, some of the parents, they would overdo for their children. They would feel that we are loving our children, we are doing for something for them, but actually the parents will be harming the children. So that was the third arrow. Fourth arrow fell to a place where from a hill a rock was coming down, and whatever came in between, the momentum was so strong. Trees, whatever used to come, nothing could stop that rock. Suddenly there was a very small plant that was there, a green plant that was there, and the rock touched that and it stopped. The Pandavas were amazed. Why did this happen? So Bhagavan Krishna explained that in the Kaliyug, character will fall like anything. Nothing will be able to stop. But what will stop the character, the fall in the character? Dharma. Interestingly, dharma is not equal to religion. They are different things. Religion, Hindi word can be sampradaya, panth. So, dharma is about, it's very simple, doing the right things, right action, the righteousness that is there. Today when I was just searching on the Google, I have yet to confirm, but I found that there was one more arrow that fell at a place where there was one elephant with two trunks. And Bhagavan Krishna explained this, that in Kaliyug there will be rulers who will exploit you from both the sides. Okay? So they will say something and they will do something else. Now, these 5 small pieces of information that you have, now what you need to think about is that, do you feel that that is happening? Number 1. If happening, are you a part of it? Do you feel you are affected by it? Or do you feel you are yourself one of these? If yes, what you can do? So that is something that can be a food for thought as far as this is concerned. Second thing is that in Mahabharata it is mentioned, so the solution of Kaliyug is following the dharma. So dharma is something that is not owned by anyone, dharma is something very natural. Very natural. Dharma is not that this particular thing or that particular thing, it's very natural thing. In Mahabharata it is mentioned that there are 4 things: worship, study, charity and austerity. So these 4 things can be done by normal people or even by hypocrite. So they should be done. So they are the part of dharma. But, so doing these are easier, but 4 more things are mentioned: truth, forgiveness, compassion and promotion of freedom. These are something that only a noble soul can do. So these 8 elements have been identified as a part of dharma in Mahabharata. So, and one more thing is there, that when Maharshi Vedvyas was once taking a bath, then some people came to ask some questions, and they were waiting that the sage comes out of the river and then they will ask some questions. When he came out, he said something, and I would just quickly tell you. The first thing he said is that Nari Mahan hai. So Nari Mahan hai, so women are great. Women are great because they devote so much in the house and other things they do and all. So whatever their husbands do or their father is doing, 50% of the punya, that is the good thing that they do. So 50% of the credit they get automatically without doing. And also said, Kaliyug Mahan hai, Kaliyug is great. You see, Kaliyug is great, he said. Why? Because if for 10 minutes you take the name of God in Satyug, in Kaliyug if you take for a few seconds, it is equivalent. So Kaliyug is a testing time for us. So God has created the world, we are in Kaliyug, we feel okay, we are in Kaliyug. But you know, God as the examiner has set up a very easy question paper. Right? Question paper is very easy. That, you know, take the name of Bhagwan Krishna, things are done. See, what you see here on the OMRISE, first of all, you know, so many people have been asking, and I'm so delighted, I was sharing with Mr. Yoss also, Professor Sharda ji also. People are asking how the name of OMRISE has come. So we say that, you know, perhaps Bhagwan himself, you know, God himself wanted. So this has happened. And if you see here, on the top it is written Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Right, so it is there. So Kaliyug is a very testing time, very difficult time. But God has set up a very easy question paper, so don't worry. But you'll have to find out what are those ways to do, and we have to take them up there. I think it will be appropriate. I request some of the students to sing a bhajan, because I said that, you know, you can take the name of Bhagwan and that's it. You know, nothing, everything will be fine. So can you please sing a bhajan reciting different names of Bhagwan Krishna? And I tell you one thing, sometimes we use the word Lord Krishna. Don't use the word Lord Krishna. Bhagwan Krishna has so many names. He never said my one name is Lord Krishna. Lord, you know, the Britishers, you know, use Lord Mountbatten, so okay, Lord Krishna, you are God and our Viceroy. No, don't do it. And Krishna means Draupadi. Ankurji was telling me, Krishna means Draupadi. Krishna means Maya. So if you say Krishna, Krishna, Maya will come, God will not come. But still, you know, God is so great, we use a term Bhakta Vatsal. God is so great, even if with your full emotions, you say Krishna, God will know that you mean Krishna, because God loves emotions. So सब कुछ हो जाएगा. So please, some names of Bhagwan Krishna.
अच्युतं केशवं कृष्ण दामोदरम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्ण दामोदरम् रामनारायणं जानकी वल्लभम् रामनारायणं जानकी वल्लभम् कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे भुलाते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे